After almost 6 years since the release of Volume 2 Second Year Arc, Season 4 will finally adapt the Uninhabited Island exam into the anime. However, with all its shortcomings, the explanation of the rules is not really well adapted, and if you are anime watchers who have no idea what the anime is trying to tell you, here is the complete explanation of the Uninhabited Island exam rules. Just like the name stated, the Uninhabited Island exam is an exam where students need to fight in a completely unfamiliar territory. It's similar to the island exam they have in Season 1, but this new island exam was stated to be more rigorous and more grueling than any other exam they ever had. Not only because the island is bigger and the duration is longer, but also because this Uninhabited Island exam involves the entire students in school. Every student from the first year up to the third year is required to form a group to face the Uninhabited Island exam, and they could form a group of up to 3 students per group, even though facing the exam alone is also an option. However, it was strongly hinted that having more students in your group will give more benefit, so most students ended up forming a group eventually. Let's start with how the students could form a group. To be precise, there are 7 combinations of how the students could possibly form their group. Either it is a group full of boys, a group full of girls, or a group consisting of 2 girls and 1 boy. It never stated why they cannot form a group of 2 boys and 1 girl, so let's just leave that to our imagination. The students who want to form a group need to register on the school website, and once they confirm their group, it's not possible to change it. It is allowed to form a group with students from another class, but students from another grade cannot form a team. For a note, the first-year students are allowed to form a group consisting of 4 students, and this is considered a privilege to reduce the gap between them and their seniors. Once the island exam is started, the students will get another chance to form a group of up to 6 students per group. However, it needs to be noted that the gender ratio between boys and girls cannot exceed 1:1. For example, a mixed gender group of 4 people is only possible if the number of girl is more than 2, and if they want to add 1 more person, they cannot add another boy since the ratio will exceed 1:1. The number of girls in a mixed gender group needs to be at least 50%, and this is also the case if there are 6 students who want to form a group. It's also worth noting that the island exam will test all kinds of abilities such as academic, physical ability, communication, and even mental strength, so a balanced team will give the students a real advantage in this exam. And now let's talk about the prize and the penalty of the Uninhabited Island exam. Since this is the biggest exam in the history of ANHS, the reward that the school offered is really not a joke. For a team that gets first place, they will be given 300 class points, 1 million private points, and 1 protection point. The private point will be divided equally, but the class point will be divided equally among each class that has a member in the winning team. For example, even if a team consists of 5 Class A students and only 1 Class B student, both Class A and Class B will still get 150 class points each. Even if that 1 Class B student needs to retire early and leave the other 5 Class A students to fight the exam alone, Class B will still get 150 class points if they win the first place. The second place in the exam will get 200 class points and 500,000 private points, and the third place will get 100 class points and 250,000 private points. As for the protection point, since it was never mentioned how the school will give it, we could only assume that it will be left to the winner group to decide who will get the protection point. Only the top 3 groups will get the class points, but for every group that placed in the top 50%, the school will give a bonus of 50,000 private points, and the top 70% will get a bonus of 10,000 private points. This bonus will also include the top 3 groups, so if we add all the rewards, the group that gets the first place will get a total of 1,060,000 private points, and the group that unluckily placed in 4th place will only get 60,000 points. However, the penalty for the Uninhabited Island exam is also not a joke. Contrary to the first place, the group that ended up placed in the last place will get 300 of their class points taken, and just like the winner, the penalty will be divided for each class that has a member in the last place group. Simply speaking, the class point reward for the top 3 groups will be taken from the bottom 3 groups. In case the bottom 3 group classes don't have enough class points to be taken, the reward will still be given to the winner, but the loser class will be considered in debt. which means every single class point that they get in the future will be taken automatically until their debt gets paid. However, the harshest penalty in the Uninhabited Island exam is not class point deduction, but the fact that the bottom 5 groups at the end of the Uninhabited Island exam will get expelled. This is indeed the harshest penalty in the history of the classroom elite, because in the worst-case scenario, 30 students could end up leaving the school. Fortunately, the expulsion could be nullified by using a private point. The cost to save a group from expulsion is 6 million private points, and it is divided equally for every member of the group. For example, if you have 1 million points and you are part of a 6-person group, you will be excluded from expulsion even if the other member of your group cannot pay their penalty. In that case, they will be expelled, but you will survive. However, if you failed to form a 6-person group, the penalty wouldn't change no matter how many students you have in your group. If you are alone, you need to pay 6 million by yourself. If there are 2 of you, you will need to pay 3 million points and so on. That's why having more members in your group is definitely better compared to facing the Uninhabited Island exam alone. The other benefit of having more members in your group is that you will not immediately get expelled if you somehow need to retire from the exam. If you get sick or get an injury during the exam that will force you to return to the ship, the other member of your group could keep continuing the exam. But if you don't have any team members and get sick during the exam, that will be a fast pass ticket toward expulsion. And now let's talk about the special card, because even though the card doesn't really have a lot of effect on an individual, the effect of these cards could bring a really massive impact on a large scale. For starters, there are 5 types of ordinary cards that will be distributed a day after the announcement of the exam. Every student will get one of these cards randomly, and they are free to exchange the cards among the students from another class. The first card is Head Start, and this card will give the holder an extra 50% bonus point at the start of the exam. Before the exam started, each student would get a certain amount of points to buy their necessities such as a tent or food, so the students who had the Head Start card could buy more necessities compared to the others. The second card is the Half Off card, which allowed the holder to reduce the amount of private point penalty to half. The amount to cancel the expulsion penalty is 6 million points, so if the expelled student has the Half Off card, they only need to pay 3 million points. Needless to say, this Half Off card only works for an individual penalty, so if a 6-student group gets expelled, only the holder of the card needs to pay 500,000 points, while the others still need to pay 1 million. Next we have the Insurance card, which is a card that allows its holder to return to the exam after 1 day of recovery. If a student gets sick or injured during the island exam, they usually need to retire and rest on the ship until the exam is finished. However, the holder of the insurance card will have the privilege to return to the island after a day of rest on the cruise ship. Although not explained clearly, it seems like not every student who has this card would actually be allowed to return. The students who violate the rule and are taken out from the island will obviously not be allowed to return, but the students who are still sick or deemed unable to continue the exam will also not permitted. It seems this card is only useful for light injury or sickness, so I think this card is less useful compared to the others. Next we have the bonus card, which give you double private points from the island exam reward. This card is probably the best card to get randomly, because even if you only manage to be in the top 70% group, it's still an extra 10,000 private points. Students who are confident in their ability will naturally try to get this card, and if the person who gets first place just happens to own this card, that means they will get 2,120,000 private points in total. And the last card is definitely the most unique among the other 4, because the student who has the free ride card will be allowed to pick one group as a designated group, and the holder of this card will get half of the private point reward of the designated group. For example, if you use the free ride card for a certain group, and that group happens to win first place, that means you will get an extra 530,000 at the end of the exam. The reason why I think this card is really busted is the fact that there are around 90 free ride cards distributed in the Uninhabited Island exam. And if all 90 cards were somehow directed to the first place group, that means the school will need to pay their students a total of 45 million private points. It never stated if this scenario is possible, but if the winner group also has the bonus card, that means each of the free ride card holders will get 1,060,000 private points just because they are lucky with their choice. That scenario doesn't seem right no matter how you think about it, so let's just put it aside and treat it as a possibility. For a note, the effect of the card cannot be stacked even if you have 100 of them, and a card could only be transferred once, so you will only need one free ride card to get your 1 million points. Other than 5 basic cards, there are another 3 cards that are considered special since there is only one of each type. Those cards are called Nullify, One More, and Trial and Retribution. The Nullify card is basically an upgrade of the half-off card, because if you have this card, you don't need to pay for anything in case you get expelled. The Nullify card will nullify all private point penalties, but the class point penalty will still get taken. The One More card is way more unique, because it allows you to increase the maximum number of a group from 6 to 7. By using this card, the ratio of male and female students in a group will be removed, which means it is possible for one female student to form a group with 6 male students. And the last one is the Trials and Retribution card, which is the only card that could bring harm to its holder. The group that has this card in their possession will be given an extra 50% increase in their class point reward, but if the holder group fails to reach the top 30% group, the group will be penalized. It never stated what the penalty is, but with how Ayanokoji somehow got the Trials card, it seems the penalty is none other than expulsion. The extra class point that the holder gets will not be taken from the bottom 3 groups like the regular penalty, but will be covered by the school, and that is pretty much all we need to know before the Uninhabited Island exam begins. Needless to say, there will be a bunch of skip new rules when Season 4 reaches the beginning of Volume 3, and that's why this video is only the first part of the explanation. I will make the second part when Season 4 Episode 8 is released, and let's just hope all that skip content will be paid off with a great execution.